Good morning. Good Motivational Monday morning. I hope this message finds you well. As always, I hope you rested well and are ready to take on another amazing week. As always. This message is just a lot of fun this morning. It's been a process, definitely, to get to it. But it's also a bridge, again, as we keep building on these Motivational Mondays, on things that we can do for ourselves. The bridge on what we talked about last week, which was self-love, loving one's self, and finding that true love within ourselves so that we can then give that to others and to the world in a pure and true way. And that one's brought up a lot of emotions for a lot of people. A lot of us, it's hard to look in the mirror and say, I love me, right? We're not taught that. We're not taught that from young children. We're taught that we need to be this or be that, or continue to do things in certain ways, even though it doesn't sit well in our soul, right, for us. So it's hard. It's hard to look at ourselves and go, you know what, I love me, because we're not living our life for us all the time. And it makes sense, right? When you have other people in your life, children, spouse, it makes sense to think, well, I have to live for them first because they're my life. But if going back to what we talked about last week, and I hope we did that exercise of, if you don't love yourself fully first, it's how can you truly love them with everything that you are if you're not even who you are and loving yourself in that way first? So building on that, and building on that self-love and the connections with children and spouses and family and lovers and friends, and how that fulfills us and how that builds on our own self-love and our own self-worth and our own self-truth. And the fact that we're constantly trying to give that love to others, and the why behind it. The why behind it is because we want to feel that love ourselves. And that's the truth. Again, talking about that self-love. So it's easy to go to the outside world and to have that vibration and try to give that to others because we want to feel it ourselves. But it's a matter of trying to find that love right here. And I keep pointing to my belly. I want to talk about chakras very quickly, and then talk about the message for this Motivational Monday, which is be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself and your worth and honoring of self, and why I keep touching my belly. I'm going to talk about the chakras. So we have 7 chakra systems, for those of you that don't know chakras very well. They're energy centers that run throughout our body. There's 7 of them. So there's your root chakra that sits in the base of your spine. There's your sacral chakra, your solar plex, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. Those are the 7 energy centers that run throughout our body. And when I talked about stress before, we talked about how energy sits in different parts of our body and how that affects us. I talked about stress in our heart and how that creates heart attacks because that energy is sitting in our heart center. But I want to talk about today this one that I keep touching, which is our sacral chakra. A really dear friend of mine named Gail gave me a mantra that I do literally every day to remind myself to get within myself, and I would like to share that with you as well, to help keep us centered and, again, to understand this thing that I keep touching right here. So this is as though we're speaking to ourselves. This is an amazing exercise to do, looking in that mirror when we're really trying to focus on that self-love and finding ourselves. Thinking about our energy centers, trying to be aligned, trying to be calm, right? When we're centered, we're calm. We've heard that word before. Being centered means being within ourselves, connecting to highest self, and within our truth. Speaking to self, talking about the first chakra, is I feel you, meaning I feel my body. I know what's happening. I see you, meaning I see truth. I hear my intuition and my knowing. I hear you, our throat chakra, communication. So I hear you, meaning I hear myself. I'm speaking to me and my truth. The biggie, I love you. Your heart center, truly looking at self and saying, I love you. Your solar plex, I am enough. And the one that I keep touching, your sacral, I'm worthy. And your root, I am, which means I am connected to self. So I feel you, I see you, I hear you, I love you. I'm enough, I am worthy, I am. I'm enough and I am worthy. Solar plex and sacral is what I want us to really focus on this week with intention. It's our instincts, it's our feeling, that is where our truth lies. Our truth lies within ourselves. And finding that true love, it's in your gut. It's those gut instincts that we talk about all the time, or that we feel all the time. And being true to self and being true to self-love and being able to have that reflection outside of ourselves is crucial. And that being said, when we talk about self-love and being true to self, this is where we have to do a lot of exercise with also those that are outside of us, those that are in our life, our spouses, our children, our friends, our family, our lovers, whatever. That's where we have to really listen to our I am enough and I am worthy, because that's how we give our expectations to those around us. That's where our truth lies. That's where when we bury emotion because we didn't speak our truth, when we don't feel enough or worthy, based on all of the outside world that's happening to us, that's where that emotion sits. I'd like for us to pause this week in moments. And when we are in those energetic emotions of sadness, low vibration, fear, just take a deep breath and feel where that energy is sitting. That's where you're going to find your truth and your true self and the expectations that you have for the outside world, but mostly yourself. We try to, again, to give our love so much to others because that's what we want to feel ourselves. And we also get very emotional when others don't meet our expectations. That's because we're not being true to ourselves and we're not being honest with those other individuals because we're so busy trying to make them happy and trying to make and give that love that we want to receive ourselves, that we're not doing it in honesty and truth. We are just bending and breaking. Yes, we want to make other people happy. Yes, we want to give, but we still need to be true within ourselves. So if something doesn't sit right in our soul, and yet we're doing it to make others happy, that's not true love and that's not true self. And that sits here. We all do it. We all do it because we want to receive and give love because we want to feel that love. But it's time for us to really sit in that and sit in our truth. Sit with the things that we expect for our life. It's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to have that self-worth. It's okay to say, you know what? I am worthy and I am enough. I am enough and I am worthy. To have the love that I desire and to have the standards that I expect for my life and to not bend and go against my own principles so that I can then receive love. That's not true love. That's not true self and that's not true honesty. That only lives within here. So let's do the exercise this week as we practice self-love and as we practice being true to ourselves and we practice our own self-worth. The reflection is outside of us. So if others are giving you that emotion or you're feeling that frustration because you're giving so much and you feel like you're not receiving it back, it's because you're not giving it to yourself and you're not setting those standards for yourself. That's where we need to really gut check and find our true selves. It's an amazing and powerful exercise. Focus on those energy centers and feel where that energy lies. I hope this message resonates. I hope it makes sense for you. I pray that we find our true self this week. At least a part of it. Let's do the work to try to really get there so that we can have that true love. That true, absolute love that lives within, that we can give to others. And when we do that, we will get it back in that way. Because we're true to ourselves, our expectations, and our worth. Have an amazing week. And as always, stay with love. Till next week.